Good morning, everyone. What's going on? Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in this fine world. Today, what's up, Zeno? Today, we're going to go back and revisit this Horizon Zero Dawn fan art that I was doing for a while. I'm pretty close to being finished with the high res of this guy, but as I was getting him ready for retopo prep, uh, I realized there was some stuff that I still needed to do to him. So today we're going to work on some smaller details on this guy and just kind of work on finishing up some of these areas. As soon as this 1.75 gig file saves, there we go. We'll kind of go into what we're going to look at today. So for the most part, his arms and his whole chest is pretty much done. Oh no, Zeno. Well, it's a good thing you can go back and watch him on ZBrushLive.com. Yeah, so there's some things that I definitely want to bring up to final before we move on to baking this guy, or retop. I want to refine some of these little ropes. Sorry, still trying to get over a flu. Um, this still needs a lot of work. You can see some things are penetrating. Doesn't have any holes, and things are kind of a little bit messy in here. Also, this treatment that I did to the front, I didn't even do to the back yet, so that still needs to get done. Some other things like some minor details to the belt loops, maybe these belt loops. Possibly another one of these holders here and there. This still has some stuff I need to do to it. And then there's like the whole headband and all this. This is still really rough. So there's still plenty to do on this guy. His hands I want to go and do. This is all just, excuse me, it's all still really rough and totally the wrong shape. So there's that. And then I want to go and add some more details into these straps and stuff down here. So there's still plenty to do for this guy. Plenty to do. What's up, Jakishan? How you doing? Alright, so I think where we're going to start is probably the easiest stuff. Right, so the biggest fixes, which is making sure like all this penetration stuff isn't doing weird things. I thought I had layers on these things. I don't. Oh no. Oh no. I don't have layers. Okay, alright, well we'll just go. We'll just go. Alright. So yeah, this guy I've actually been working on the ZBrush live streams for kind of the majority of last year. So if you guys are interested in going back and watching some of the creation of this guy, it is available on my ZBrushLive.com page. Okay, bro, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Yes, exactly, Zeno. Took the words right out of my mouth, man. So this is just about kind of getting some surface variation. I'm just using the move tool, kind of pushing in. Just making sure these areas aren't penetrating these metal pieces. And you'll see it doesn't even have the cuts in here either, where these threads go in. So we're going to need to do that too. Customize Mario Brother. No, actually, you know what? That's a good point. I'm going to go over the concept real quick. This concept was one of the NPCs from Horizon Zero Dawn, actually. The concept was done by Adrian Wilkins and a couple of his buddies, his buddy pals. Here's the actual concept. So it was done by Adrian Wilkins. Definitely check him out. I'll go ahead and throw his link in there. Go check him out. But this is in collaboration with Tim Lochner and Andrew Skuja. So yeah, this is the dude. And at some point I may actually add this belt loop. We'll see. I probably should. And then I need to have like a little tie off here. So there's still plenty of stuff to do on this guy. So yeah, check him out. He's got some really awesome, amazing, super phantasmical work. I also have it here if I ever want to look. What's up, Ruben? How's it going, man? Wednesday I began my new job as a 3D asset generalist, but I don't want to say where until everything is signed. Dude, that's awesome, and I know exactly how that feels. I was the same way right before I started at Crystal Dynamics. I was like, and Visceral, both times. I was like, oh my god, I can't keep it in. But that's awesome, man. You got a gig, and it's 3D, you know. That's awesome. Congratulations, man. That's the amazing thing when hard work starts paying off, man. You're just like, ah, oh, yes, finally. Crystal Dynamics still exists? Dude, yeah, bro. Kidding me? I'm going strong. Hello, like, Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Yeah, bro. Going strong, man. Oh, we're working on a little, actually, you know what? I'll give you guys the link. I'll give you guys the link. Hold on. I'll show you the teaser for what game I'm working on. Videos. This one.
Get the same amount of litter.
Same amount of litter. That's what it's called. Get the same amount of litter. If you guys want to go check out the announcement trailer for the game that I'm currently working on, that's it. Pretty stoked. Pretty stoked. All right. That's starting to look a little bit better. I don't think got so much penetrating anymore. Yeah, I think this can go in a little bit. Gabriel, dude, awesome, man. Super stoked for you. And as a generalist, you tend to get to do a lot of fun things. It's very rewarding. And you don't have to move? Haha, nice. Yep. It's funny, the amount of work that you have to put in to get in is nothing compared to the work that you begin doing once you're in. You know? You're like, yeah, I made it. Now. Now. Now the work begins. Now it truly begins. Alright, so now I'm going to go and just start adjusting these guys just to make sure that we've got enough room for some believability here. Because then we're going to start digging in and making some of those penetrating holes there. Man, excuse me. Gabriel, how long before you get everything signed, do you think? The next couple of days or so? Oh man, that's such a fun time too. Also want to make sure that these don't pull out too far. Then they're going to start looking a little bit weird. I'm actually really excited, man. The stuff that we're doing is pretty dope, man. It's pretty dope. And I can't really complain, man. I went from working on a Star Wars game to working on an Avengers game, so those are some pretty big IPs to be jumping around on. I'm stoked. Yeah, man, definitely check it out. I actually I did quite a bit, if not most of this dude on these ZBrush streams. And they are archived on the ZBrush Live page under my channel. So if you guys are interested, guys or gals are interested in going back and skimming through some of that process, see how I did all this stuff, it's there, waiting for your eyeballs. Okay, that looks better. That looks better. Just gonna double check this side. Oh, awesome. Well, Popo. Looks like. Hi, buddy. Looks like I did actually do some work to this one that I didn't do to this one. Interesting. Okay, let's see. What if we just do mirror and weld? Nope. That's not the one I wanted to do. I wanted to do this guy. I can't mirror and weld with subdivisions. Son of a bee. Okay, so a couple of things I can do is actually just work on this side, and then when I'm done working on this side, when I'm done working on this side, there's a couple of ways I can do it. couple of annoying ways, but nothing really. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is just continue to work on this side, and then when I'm ready to bake, I'm just going to disregard this side, and then when I'm ready to bake it all out, I'll freeze all my subdivisions, and then just mirror it onto this side. I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's not worry about this side at the moment then. Actually, you know what? Are they going to be different? Let's see. So the question is this piece going to be the exact same as this piece? And I think there's enough differentiation in these patterns here that you don't really, it's not blindingly obvious that they're mirrored. Right? So this is different enough that by the time you move over to look at this side, unless you're like looking like back and forth specifically, it's pretty hard to notice that they're mirrored. And most of this information lives on the side where you'll never see both sides at the same time, right? So mirrored, I think, is going to be just fine for these. Both actually, Gabe. So I'm planning on doing the retopo in Modo. So I'll just retop this, and then I'll be using this to project all those details onto the low res. Alright. Again, no layers, so that's okay. Let's just start a layer. What the hell? We'll call this one stitch holes. Holy stitches. Alright. And then I don't have to go into too much crazy detail. I really just need to have something like this where you actually see it affecting the surface as these big stitches go in. Alright. So I'm thinking I may be able to just use the move tool. I could just push this in. Let's see if this works. And then maybe pull this out. So I want to try to maintain that previous textures in here. Really does start breaking down as you get it closer, huh? I think what I'm going to do is, instead of doing move, let's go down in subdivision levels. Alright, so if we go down in subdivision levels around here and do this, let's turn off lazy mouse. If I'm talking too low, guys, and you can't hear me, just let me know. It's still early here, so should be able to do this and just kind of work on the shape, and then as I go back up, it should preserve those finer details. What's up, Crow? How you doing, man? Yeah, I think this is better. So you just dive in like this, pull this out. Dive in, pull this out. Alright, and then head back up to the 6, and that should still preserve it. Done. I'm going to have to go and edit those stitches more. But yeah, I think that'll work. Probably one of the better ways. At least you can start getting some of those hints that it's actually going through. I could probably even push a little bit further. Eating is important, dude. You should do that. But I'm glad you stuck around and said hi. Sup, dude? Bruh. Thanks, Crow. Hey, Pro. How you doing? Sup, sup. Sup, 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 sup. Let's actually go back over to these guys. Let's do mirror, and then mirror and weld. Because I ended up fixing those ones on the other side. Which those feel a little bit better. Let's just make sure that on this one I have my symmetry on. Coffee. Oh, coffee is good. Alright, so let's go through and do that. So we'll say, maybe we can go back into 5. See how much we can get away with here. Ooh, warm cocoa and whipped cream. Sounds fantastic. Let's see if that's going to really get rid of that. That pretty much holds it. That's okay. We start placing these into position a little bit better too. And it's kind of, once you get to this part, it's a little methodical, I guess you can say. But just making sure that you get all those finishing touches before you go start breaking it down for baking and retopo. Super important so that you don't have to come back and do it later. So usually the high-res process goes your main block out, and then stop. You do your main block out. You start working on details. Once you're happy with all the details, then you go back, and usually the final process before you start breaking down for retopo is just coming through and making sure that everything's sitting tight, you know. All these little details you need to kind of nail, because if you have to go back and redo them later, it becomes a real big pain. Like when you're doing a retopo, because once you do retopo, you're pretty much stuck in that in whatever you started retopoing as. Because if you deviate from your your high res, then you're going to have a differentiation between where your high res left off and where your retopo model is. So all this stuff becomes super important, even though it may be a little bit tedious to kind of make sure all this detail is part of production, you know. This isn't concept art, it's a production piece, so these are the non-glorious times, I guess you can say, where you just got to go back and do a little bit of this more tedious stuff just to button things up. Make sure things are looking good. Because that's your job. The hard grind. Yep, exactly. Yes, and coffee is life, especially if you've only had 3.5 hours of sleep because your 2-year-old is sick. But here I am. The show must go on. Last week I had the super flu. This week, my daughter is sick and she was thrown up all night. But I'm here. The show must go on. Well, I found over the... God, I've been streaming at like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. my time. Quite a bit over the last, I think, God, I don't even know how many years I've been doing it now. Maybe 3 years? 2 years. 2.5 years. We'll say 2.5 years. One of the things that I found is that it sucks. But it is nice because once you get over the whole I'm tired thing, and you start actually getting to work, it's a really awesome time. You know, everybody else is asleep. You know, you've already committed to being awake and working. You know, and yeah, it's a great way to start the day too. I've found. Usually after streams, I'm pretty energized. It's a good way. It's like working out, you know, in the mornings. I've never been a big fan of going to the gym in the morning, but the very few times that I have, I've always felt good, you know. So it's not all bad. And I have to feel so bad for going into work this morning. It's part of the grind, you know? Yeah, Pro, I actually do too. Well, I mean, I used to. Let's say I used to prefer nights and evenings. Um, but for me, I'm in California, so my time zones are pretty limited for exposure to the world, I guess you could say, you know? So my mornings are, you know, probably the best time for the amount of people that could be up watching a stream. You know what I mean? So even though it sucks for me, it actually works out to a benefit where, you know, I get a lot of Europe people, I get a lot of Eastern Asia and Asia, Eastern Europe. So yeah, I get a lot of bang for the buck doing it in the morning. But if I do it at night on the West Coast, that's super severely limiting the people that may be watching. You know what I mean? But I do actually technically prefer doing these at night. Not sure if this is true, but I used to be a night owl. But since I have a kid, I have more energy in the morning. Yes, that's the other thing too, Crow. At night, dude, I just, you know, yeah, for me and a lot of other parents, at the end of the day, man, you've been so sapped of energy, you got nothing. You know what I mean? And then like to try to be creative on top of that, it's tough to do stuff at night. Usually the last thing you want to do is sit down and be creative, you know? So that's another good thing for me for doing it in the mornings is that I've got some creative energy. Anton, what's up, buddy? Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. This is actually some fan art from Horizon Zero Dawn. Oseram? Is that what they're called? Yeah, Oseram? Oseram? Yeah. This is a NPC character that Adrian Wilkins did. Yeah. I think it's Oseram. I think it's what is But yeah, it's cool when I was going through and playing these guys. When I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, when I got to the area where some of these dudes were, I'm like, oh dude, I gotta look for the guy that I did. I gotta look for him. I don't think I ever found exactly him, but I found some dudes that have his elements, and I was like, ah, that was freaking dope. That's awesome. This is what it would look like if I was working there. What's up, Portally? Shenanigans! What's going on? How are you? Oop. Light bulb company. Could be. Later. Later in generations. Let's see how that's looking from far away. It's starting to look a little bit more like it's actually going, these are actually going into the leather. Just a quick little look at where I'm at. For those of you who just joined. This is a dude that I've been working on this stream for, I don't know, throughout most of last year. Or most of the last half of last year. Hung over on the couch. Oh, nice. Yay. Nothing like having a hangover and watching ZBrush streams, right? Yeah, I used the Marvelous Designer just for the pants. Just for these pants. Everything else was pretty easy just to do extracts and retop real quick and then subdivide and sculpt on. Those are all just right through, pieces from his anatomy. But for the pants, yeah, I just did a super quick, super baggy pants in Marvelous Designer, and then brought them over. Well, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this guy. A lot of fun. Now it's about going back and starting to nail down some of these last kind of a little bit more tedious pieces, just to get ready for a retop. So some of the little bit less glorious parts of production, but one of those things you got to do. Yes, exactly. When one cannot sculpt, one must watch others sculpt. Yeah, the German beer can catch up to you. Well, you know that American beer, it's got some really good American microbrews now, and some of those, man, they got some high alcohol content in there. You got to be really careful, you know. Yeah, I mean, you can I remember back in the day, everything was about 5% alcohol, and then now, like 5% is like the low, right? So like 6.5%. There's a lot that are, somewhere around 8%. It's crazy. One of my favorite beers actually is by 21st Amendment, the brewery. They do a seasonal called Fireside Chat. It's amazing. It's amazing. So freaking good. But it's like, I think it's like 8.9% alcohol. It's crazy. You have one of those beers and just be good. Alright, just working on some of these a little bit more subtle forms in here. Just make sure that those are reading. Yeah, I mean, once you start getting into like those 10%, man, those can be dangerous. We'll try to just vary up some of these as well. The things don't look so uniform. Maybe go back down to like 4 and just smooth this out a little bit, and then come back up. That's a really awesome thing about having some of this definition done in higher subdivs. You can really go back down and then, you know, work on overall form, and then when you come back up in subdivs, it really doesn't affect those higher subdivision level details, which is freaking awesome. Yo, what's up, Craig Kelly? How you doing, man? What's up, buddy pal? Alright, so let's see if that's reading okay. And you know, everything, it doesn't have to be exact for each one of these. As long as you're kind of getting the impression that it's going in, you know, you can vary it up, and then some of them don't have to be so major as, you know, some other ones. Because when you're looking at it, you're like, okay, yeah, I can see it going in. Okay, good. Okay, cool. It's going in. Oh, okay. Awesome. Got it. Okay, on to the next thing. Oh, life's been interesting lately. This flu pandemic, man, really getting the best of me and my family. Daughter got daughter got sick again last night. Jeez, man, can't freaking catch a break. Poor kid. I had the super flu last week. Actually, last Saturday when I was streaming was my first day with the flu. It was pretty miserable. But I survived. Grubber, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. Sup, 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 sup. Yeah, maybe we'll just bellow that out. Well, thanks for stopping by, Crow. Yeah, man. Always happy to have you. Have a great day at work, honey. Andy, what's up, buddy? Having some issues with my raw head scan, so it'd be okay if I emailed you for some help, but don't want to derail the stream. Yeah, man, go for it. Yeah. Thanks, man. What's up, Safar? Safar. Did I say it right? Safar. Is that like Brett Favre? You guys remember that movie? What about something about Mary? Nice cup. Not sure if I was going for a cup. I think I was going for leather pants. But if this looks like a cup, man. You still haven't seen that movie? Ah. Anyways, at the end, Ben Stiller, like one of my favorite quotes from that was like, you know, what was the girl's name? I forgot what Mary. You know, she was like, "But I love you, Ben Stiller." And she had like this thing for Brett Favre, and he was like, well, "What about Brett Favre?" uh, that's always stuck with me. Oh man, you got to go back and watch that one. Just when you have an inkling for um, a good 2000s funny movie, go back and watch that one. Something about Mary. It was hilarious, man. I'm not a big Ben Stiller fan, but that movie was pretty funny. I'll give it that. So you need to bellow this out a little bit. I'll just hit some inflate here. This is looking a little bit flat. I may actually do this to a lot of this and kind of add some more detail. These kind of look a little bit lamey. What movie? It's called Something About Mary. Shenanigans. Yeah, absolutely. I can show you guys how I did the leather. Um, Good call. It's basically just a three-step process that I use, and I'll go up to this piece because I think it shows it kind of the best. So right now in game texturing pipeline, there's a fine balance between what you're going to actually put in and sculpt into the sculpt and use in your bake and what you're going to actually use in your material, right? Because material is so powerful now that you can really get a ton of great stuff just from the material, which means that your details on your sculpt don't have to be so crazy. So, one of the things that the materials are lacking is usually it's just a repeating material, right? So it's kind of this blanket material that kind of goes over everything. So you don't really get a lot of that like characterized, very specific um, detail. So, what I've been doing in a lot of my work lately is just going in and in my sculpt, I'll do the big character details, right? So like the kind of this directional movement, um, and like these big folds, I'll go through it and do those, and then the rest of the stuff like in here, I'll just use kind of what's in the actual material to fill those in, right? So just focus on kind of the big characterized portions, and then fill in the rest with the material. So that was the original idea, and why some you'll see some pockets and stuff that don't really have much. Um, so with that in mind, I really just wanted to get some of these bigger things in kind of sculpted in. So the way that I did it was I used an alpha. Let me see if I can find the alpha. Hold on one second. Do, 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 do. Let's see if I can find this alpha real quick. I think I remember where it is. Reference. Mm, Textures. Textures, leather. Give me 1 second, see if I can find this thing. Is it this one? Nope. This one? No. I started with just going to like Surface Mimic or someplace to get. Here we go. I think this is the one. Yeah. So I just went and grabbed something from Surface Mimic, which is just a large leather. So it looks like that. And then what I did was I'll go ahead and do drag rec. Actually, you know what? Let's do it on. See if we can do it on a different piece. Maybe we'll actually do it on this piece. Let's take a look. I think it has enough to hold it. Yeah. Okay, so basically what I did was I say, okay, well, let's say I want some specific leather to kind of be going this way, the cracks to be kind of going this way. So what I did was I just used this this alpha with drag rec, and when I'm doing this I just use the standard brush so I don't mess up the settings for any of my other brushes. And then I'll come in and add a layer. Yeah, exactly, Jordan. So what I do is I'll come in and, all right, so let's do store morph target, right? So I'm storing this morph, right? So I'm storing this, this state. And then in a layer, I'll come in and do, let's turn my Z intensity down. And then I'll come in and just maybe add something like this. Right, and these ones may be kind of cool. So maybe I can actually pull it from here and get that kind of coming this way. And then I can actually grab my morph brush. So BMO for morph. And then because I stored that, I can pull this stuff back. Right? I can pull all this back to that stored. Right? So I can just kind of come in and start just really having a nice light hand on that leather material. Alright, then maybe I want to pull this back. All this stuff I'm going to pull back. I really just kind of want this little bit in here. So I use that just to start from, right? I'll just kind of lighten this a little bit. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking and just looking for the pattern, right? Just a little bit, right? Maybe I'll actually take and pull this back through here. Right. So I want it nice and light. Nothing too crazy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and sculpt out the details that this has presented to me. You know what I mean? Right, so maybe I don't like that too much. Alright, so something like that. And then I'll just, I'll go back and morph all this out. I don't want that in this piece at all. Yeah, layers and morph targets are amazing. So I'm just gonna morph that back out just to make sure that, I mean, I'm probably gonna not keep this anyways, but whatever, you get the idea. Alright, so you got this, and then I'll do another layer, and then now I just come in with like a damn standard and really kind of pronounce some of these areas that I now have this nice like pattern to start from, right? And then I just kind of use that to start like blocking in some of these cross patterns in the direction that I want them, you know? So it's that alpha that kind of gives me a good starting point. And I also want to, know how patterns of leather work. You know, it's skin, right? So a lot of times it has like this kind of pattern where it goes, like this, where you get like a lot of skin folds happening like this, you know? So I kind of want to know and remember how that works. Right? Kind of get this action going. All right, and then once I kind of get that, then I'll add another layer, or you can do this all in one, doesn't matter. But I'll go in with the inflate brush, and this is kind of where the trick is just kind of hit some of these areas with the inflate, and it really adds a lot of that pop. And kind of believability to how the skin like actually folds and kind of crumples outward. And it gives you that nice like leather feel, right? And again, depends on if you're using like heavy leather, right? This would be more heavy leather, and this would be a little like more light leather, I guess you could say. But then you can do, the same thing down here. Kind of just, again, where are your character lines coming from? Where's the most important ones being pulled from? Thanks. Something like that. And a lot of this comes from just using that alpha just to kind of get the idea of, what some of these patterns are. It's kind of like giving yourself the opportunity to have happy accidents. You know what I mean? Ashen, what's up, buddy? And then even under this light stuff, and then, it's pretty much the same, whether you dig in more and you have the different patterns, or you're doing something lighter like this, and then you come back with that inflate brush and just kind of lightly hit some of these spots. It really makes it pop nicely. Sometimes you can even come in with the pinch brush too. Kind of add some variations to this, right? So not all the times are those peaks and valleys the same width. So to add some variability, you can come in with a pinch brush and just kind of vary those up a little bit. Yeah, I'm just doing. I'm working on some final details for my Osram character, fan art character for Horizon Zero Dawn. And who had a question on what my workflow was for doing the material or the leather. So that's exactly how I did it. Now, if you go back and look at this, right? That's exactly how I did it. So I started with an alpha, and then just drew it in really nice, used the morph target to morph back out some of the areas that I didn't want, and then went back in with the dam standard and kind of did some areas, and then went in with the inflate brush and just kind of pulled some of those areas out. Pretty easy. So a lot of these workflows I try to keep down to like 2 or 3 steps so that I remember how to do it. I also think that the more steps you have in a process for creating a particular material, the more convoluted it gets. But yeah, so that's how I do it. Thanks, Ashen. Appreciate it. So let's delete this one, delete that one, delete that one. Yeah. That's pretty much how I did all of that. All of that. And then you'll notice that in this one down here, I really I really just used the alpha. So there wasn't really a whole lot of um, the second step, third step that I've done yet. I can definitely come in and kind of start giving these some more love, you know, as we come through here, just to kind of give up those variations. But you'll see that by using that alpha stamp, it really gives me a lot to work from to start, you know. I can just come in and just pull out some of the areas that I want more wear, you know. And the reason why I'd say that I do a lot of this by hand and I don't do it in the material is because, you know, it's I feel like I have more control over some of the more important areas, you know, the star areas, I guess you could say. It's ironic seeing how everything on Battlefront 2 unfolded and what EA needs. Yeah, that's a whole topic in and of itself, isn't it, Gabriel? Isn't it? Yeah. Um, I think I think the execs, a lot of execs think that, you know, for single player may be dead, but players say otherwise. Yes, Ashen, I will be retopping this guy. And actually, that's one of the main reasons why I'm going back and doing some of this now, is because I started to do some retopo on him already, and I noticed that there's a lot of pieces that are still not quite ready, right? So that's why I'm going back right now and kind of tidying up some of the last areas, is that um, so I don't have to go back and do it later, and it would create double work for me. So I'm making a point to go back and fix up a lot of these high res areas where it's kind of lacking at the moment. There's some kind of house cleaning type of stuff. Okay, so then we come back. Yeah, retopple will be a chore in and of itself. So we're just going to go through with inflate and just pull out a couple of these areas through this high tension area. And those pieces just really start popping. So for my pipeline, specifically, Jordan, what you're asking is I'm doing the full sculpt in ZBrush, retopo and UVing in Modo, and then baking with Marmoset Toolbag 3, and then texturing in Substance Painter. For the ZBrush streams, though, I will not be doing those second, third, and fourth parts, because that's not ZBrush. So I'll be doing those on my own personal stream. So if you guys are interested in following along, probably will take a while for me to do, because I don't have a lot of personal time to do it. But if you'd like to follow along, feel free to follow my Twitch channel. which you can find right there. Yeah, it'd be cool. It's always good to have other artists come by and see what you're doing and offer suggestions and that kind of thing. It's always good to pick up, yeah, look at that. Ah, that feels so much better, right? So you can get something like, okay, well, now we know that this is kind of where, like, when he sits down, like, this is where the major fold happens, right? Because we have the kind of this high traffic area for bending and moving. Which means that now I need to come through and do some more of this through here. Actually, probably through here. Oh, thanks, Jordan. Appreciate the throwing up the link there. Thanks, man. Thanks, buddy. Buddy pal. Alright, so a lot of this, we'll just kind of do that same thing through here. Again, just using those previous patterns. I don't have to go super crazy. Just a little bit something different from the surrounding amount of detail. Maybe that's enough. Will I tackle skin the same way? Or will it be completely sculpted? I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm going to go the whole texturing XYZ kind of Mari projection approach, or if I go the just ZBrush pore sculpting. Or there's another thing that I've been waiting to test, which is doing all this pore details in Painter. Because Painter has some good alphas included in it now for skin alphas. So I think I may actually try to do it there in Painter. All right, let's do inflate. And just kind of pull some of these areas out again. The Mari texturing XYZ process, I just don't have a lot of experience doing the Mari process. I think it really depends on how I feel at the time, I'm like, yeah, let's dive in and do some awesome texturing XYZ, because I didn't really have a lot of opportunity to work with that high fidelity. So we'll see. I don't know yet. Yeah, they got some decent ones. If anything, it's a good place to start. Okay, so again, just enough to kind of just differentiate a little bit. We're not really going to see that too much, but here, I think, actually, if I have a little bit more of this kind of coming in this way in here, we'll actually be able to see that a little bit more. Right, so I want to make sure that this view here, we get that, right, because all the other stuff's kind of hidden behind this guy, and you see it from here. So let's give this nice continuity where you see it here, and then you'll see a lot of it here, and you're like, oh, okay, I connect those lines. Got it, cool. Just want to make sure that this part has enough. You can also bring in normal maps into Substance Painter and use them for skin. even if the ones that are included aren't good enough, you can even do some normalizing of some texture XYZ stuff and kind of knock it down a bit, and then use that. I know Surface Mimic has some good micro detail for skin normals, so you can bring those in too. But I think I may want to try just doing it in the material instead of actually doing it in the sculpt. And when I want to be careful when I'm doing this to not make it look artificial, right? So I want to pay attention to make sure that I have enough variations, that my shapes aren't doing like that weird like same shape thing. So I want to make sure that I'm doing the what they call the layered cake effect, where I'm using small, medium, and large shapes. Right, so I want to make sure that like this shape isn't the same distance as this shape, as this shape, as this shape. You know what I mean? So it's really close to kind of feeling like that. So the nice thing about doing this on a layer is you can turn this off, right? And then you can say, let's delete the previous morph target, store a new morph target, and then go back into recording mode. Go BMO for morph brush, and then just pull this back out. Like, no, I don't like that one. Right, maybe I don't like this one. Actually, no, I don't like this one. No, I don't like either one of those. Right, so I want to make sure I have a, say this is my medium shape. And then, you know, maybe this comes in here for a small shape. And then maybe this is a larger shape down here. You know, I want to make sure that this varies enough that it doesn't look fake. Once you start getting those kind of repeating same size textures, it starts looking unreal. Or uninteresting, I should say. Just weird. I'll just join. Do you prefer the extraction, draw the mask extract, or build with topology brush? I think it really depends, Sean. Depends on the piece. I think these ones I used extract for these ones because they were going to be just right off of his anatomy anyways, like for this. So I think for these ones I used extract. Right? So I used extract and then I just did a Z-remesh and then subdivided and then sculpted. So that's exactly how I did pretty much all these pieces, right? This piece, these shoulder pieces, the arm piece. And it's particularly for the arm piece, I did the extract and then I did Dynamesh because I really wanted to kind of move things out. And then after I Dynameshed, then I just Z-remeshed it, or duplicated it, Z-remeshed it, subdivided it, and then projected it back down to the Dynameshed one, and then did all the fine details from there. Just so that I can have that Dynamesh to be able to kind of have free flow. So it really all depends. Sometimes if I'm doing more hard surface stuff, I'll just do, instead of doing extract, I'll just do mask, and then I'll do polygroups, group masked, and then I'll do polish by groups. And then I'll have a nice little piece of geo. If that makes sense. How would I tiger? No problem, man. No problem. Actually, you know what? Let me save this real quick, and then I'll show you the retopo prep that I did. Let me save this dude real quick like. Wrong location. Hold on one sec, guys. That's where I want to save it. Once it saves, then I'll go ahead and open up the retop. Okay. Now we'll do load tool. So usually what I'll do is I'm gonna from this point where my let's say this is my final high res. I'll take this character two different ways. So I'll decimate everything down for retopo, so that everything just holds the shape. Like all these pieces just hold the shape. And then I don't use any of the very, very small details because I'm just going to use it for retopoing. And then, so that's one direction that I'll take the final high res. The other one is breaking down, getting ready for bake, where I want to preserve all of the high res details for baking, right? So the prep, this is basically what I do. So I just kind of take everything down to its lowest. So, you know, if I have subdivisions, I'll go all the way down in the subdivisions. If it's Dynamesh, I'll just go through and decimate down into what, just kind of the lowest I can get while still preserving the shape. And then I'll just come back and kind of break it down into sections, right? So for this guy, right, I have, you know, the belt section. I have this section. So then I would just come back and do this, right? So at this point, I would just retopo this piece, you know, and then I have, these are relatively low enough that I could actually just use those, right? And then these pieces I had retopoed earlier. So I can just take these and then just eliminate some of these spans in each one of these, and then I can use those. And then same thing for these ones. I probably would just retopo this piece. This one's, I think, okay to use, but I would retopo each one. And then I would just take and just, so I would retopo this piece. Actually, I'd probably retopo both of these pieces together, right? And then, excuse me, for this one, same thing, right? So I just retopo this piece, probably this whole thing, and then all of this detail would be baked. And then each one of these pieces, right? This piece is actually pretty low, so I could probably almost use that one. This one I would have to retopo on its own and probably bake all this down. So another thing too is when I'm creating all this stuff, I try to think ahead of time in how I want to bake it, right? So the reasons why I would do these stitches as separate pieces other than just sculpting in those stitches is because I want to, let's say if I do auto groups, look, I have all those pieces, right? And then when I bake, right, so let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Just all these other pieces here. Let's mask. So all of these I just want on their own polygroup. So then I can just do group masked under polygroup. So if you go down to polygroups, group masked, same thing there. So just group mask like that. Now when I bring everything back, so what I do from here is that when I'm getting ready to bake, I can use the polygroup colors as an ID map. Right, so all I have to do basically is come into poly paint and then do poly paint from polygroups, and then boom, now I have my my material ID. So then I just bake a color map from that. Let's actually clear the mask and then do that. There we go. So now I have an awesome ID map for if I'm going to bake over these, if I'm going to actually use these, or if I'm going to use these as different geo. In this particular case, in the case of these stitches, I definitely would bake those ones in because it's just too much geo to get all of that looking correct. So just use that poly paint from polygroups and then retopo this whole thing, just kind of ignoring this area and just kind of going over it. And then I would just bake that as a ID map. And then I could use that right in Painter. Yeah. Right. This one would be its own. You just retopple that. I mean, it looks pretty complex from the full picture, but once you kind of just start breaking it into pieces, it becomes fairly easy. It's just a process. All right, let's go back to high-res Mr. Dude. All right. Yeah, no problem. It's one of the main reasons why I do these streams is to share, man. Share. All right, let's maybe do a little bit of inflate in here. Help pop some of these edges. Always happy to answer questions. Yeah, I think it really depends if it's, you know, if it's small little stitches, you know, I usually will bake them in, but I'll make sure that they're different, they're separate geo, so that I can bake a material map from them. But if they're really big stitches, like on a, like if this piece was like one of the main pieces, then like these ones obviously we wouldn't bake in, you know, like you'd actually go in and model those in. These are actually almost big enough where I may go in and add a bunch of extra geo to kind of give the look that, you know, it's kind of coming off of there and not just completely flat. I think that getting this right may take a couple of back and forths between baking and retopoing. It would definitely take a couple of tries. Get it? Tries. Triangles. Okay, let's see. Do I want... Maybe I'll do just a little bit here. Okay, I'll grab my damn standard. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to use my damn 2. Damn 2. You guys have not... Let's see, do I have it? Do I have it in here? Do I have it? I don't know if I did. I don't have it in here. In any matter, if you guys get a chance to use the new damn standard 2 brush that that Damien put together that been presented at the ZBrush Summit this year. I highly suggest using it. Give it a try. It's actually a really nice addition to his already great damn standard brush. Yeah, you're right. The stitches are a little bit too big to kind of just phase over, you know? I think I would give them a little bit more love in the geo to hold that shape a little bit better. Again, some of the stuff I don't really like, so I already have that morph target stored, so I can just go back to my morph brush real quick and just pull some of that back out. I'm starting to get a little bit, you know, this shape is all pretty close. Maybe I'll pull this back a little bit. Oop, not ZModeler. No. Definitely not ZModeler. Do some a little bit up here. Just making sure those shapes are varied enough so they don't look weird. Alright, and then we'll just throw some inflate in here. I love this part of the process. I could work on these fine details all day. All day. Okay, so now we got a good idea of where some of that high traffic folding goes, right? At least a little hint of it. I think maybe need a little bit more coming through here. Yeah, maybe even an extra straggler down there. That with a little bit of inflate. Oh yeah, definitely not the same thing. Definitely not the same thing. Yeah, when I got back into the game art business, ZBrush was the very first thing that I bought. And it's been the best money I've spent in this industry by far. The ZBrush chaps are a fantastic bunch, and the things that they've done for our industry is just amazing. And the things they keep doing for us, you know? Maybe I'll do just a little bit Sorry for coughing in your ear, guys. Just a touch through here. See that inflate just really gives that a nice little bump. No 4R8 trial. Yeah, I mean if you have a license, they're all free upgrades. So honestly, it's to be up to date on the ZBrush stuff is worth every penny. Honestly, from a professional user, it's just every release they do is some kind of major game-changing release tools. It's amazing. I can't explain. If you're using ZBrush, I highly suggest using whatever the latest is, because they just kill it every single time. Yep, one time buy. One time buy. I would add just a little bit through here. Sometimes you don't even have to add the extra little valleys in there. Sometimes you just come in through with the inflate and just hit a couple of areas. I like Autodesk. You're right. Yeah, honestly, I don't ever use GoZ in personal or professional. So for me, it's not detrimental to me at all. No, it's a free upgrade from 4R7 to 4R8. As long as you have a current license. It's freebie. And it cost you about $350. Oh, I need about $350. It was about that time that I noticed. Then the girls got it all. That damn locked ass monster again. You know what he said to me? I need about $350. I said, no locked ass monster, I'll give you no $350. And you know what he said to me? Okay, how about $250? What? $250? What, you got a sale on the Loch Ness Crunches? Yeah, I just export everything as OBJ and then take it over, do retopo. Ah, got it. Yeah. All right, let's see where we're at here. Okay, we need to add more detail in there. So let's go up. We're gonna name this one character love deets. Yeah, and then now that we have a layer, we're going to have to add another layer to do anything else. So this one we're gonna do stitch holes. Alright, let's go back down to like 4. And we'll continue doing some of this stitch integration in here. Okay, throw that back up to 6, see how that looks. Better. Let's go back down to 4. Maybe we'll add a little bit more of a lip to some of these, just vary it up just a touch. Yeah, I think it really all depends on what you're going to use ZBrush for. If you're going to go full bore and use it for you know, what it's really good at, if you can afford the difference, I highly suggest going with just the full package. ZBrush Core is awesome. I don't know, maybe if you're just trying it out. But if you're serious enough, for me, honestly, personally, the price for the full ZBrush is worth absolutely every single penny. Especially since they do so much development on the software. They're always doing things, and literally you can you can expect that with every release they have some kind of like literally game-changing flow. That's the tools that they give you just change. I mean, look at how Dynamesh changed it. Dynamesh changed the game industry, the production industry for video games. It completely changed the whole workflow. There was no retopo before Dynamesh. You know? I mean, sometimes, every once in a while, maybe, but nothing anywhere near how mainstream retopo is now. Nowhere near it. But the fact that you're able to freely sculpt with Dynamesh, huge, man. That's huge. And then what they did with the ZModeler brush. Well, if you guys don't know Jason Martin's the lead character artist over at id Software. He, as of recently, converted to 100% ZModeler for all of his modeling stuff. He just kind of had a big Facebook thread about it. But he pretty much gave up 3ds Max. I think it was 3ds Max that he was using. But he's using it for everything. ZModeler brush. For all of his hard surface, organics, all that stuff. I mean, that's big. You got somebody, you know, a lead character artist in a major company, a major game company, making a full switch. That says a lot, you know. Anyways, they, you know, the ZModeler is one of the things that they released. I think it was it 4R8? Was it 4R7? I think it was 4R7. It's those types of tools that that they release with, you know, every major release, that it changes things. The way that they think is so outside the box that you just, you know, you have, I don't know. For me, I have to support those guys. Those guys give me the tools to make awesome shit. You know? I highly suggest, I'd say give ZModeler brush a try. for a couple of days. Try it out. There's also a good webinar that that Joseph and Paul from Pixelogic did when they first released ZModeler. If you just do a quick Google search for ZModeler webinar from Pixelogic, you'll find it. But they go over all the major stuff of what things do, you know, how to think through things, and all that stuff. It's really, really great. Hey, there's Mike. Mike knows what's up. Okay, I feel like this feels much better now. How you doing, Mike? What's up, buddy pal? Thanks, man. Thank you very much. Yes, this feels much better now. And then we'll go through real quick and fix up some of this stuff, and I'll show you how I got to this style here. Okay, so let's save it first. Let's save this before we start going any further with that. Save. Yes, save over. Any other questions? Questions, concerns? Again, so if you guys are just joining us, this is from this is fan art of Horizon Zero Dawn NPC character that Adrian Wilkins did. This is the concept. If you want to check out some of Adrian's work, here's the link to his art station, and specifically to this art piece. So I think one of the original reasons why I chose this guy to do is I really liked, excuse me, the different materials, right? So I really wanted to be able to nail the feel of the different materials just in the sculpt, right? So I feel like this guy had this really nice, like, he's got like really hard leather in here, you know, he's got some like tweed stuff through here, some nice kind of cotton, heavy leather belts, metal. He's just got a cool guy anyways. Got some anatomy stuff going on, got some fun face. So yeah, I thought this would be a fun challenge to do, so that's why I did it. That's why I did it. So from here, just kind of working on some final details, some final like kind of housekeeping, making sure things are finally ready for retopo. Stuff like this, you know. This gets a little bit you know, tedious sometimes when you have to make sure that everything's just right. But when you're doing character art for production in a video game environment, I mean, for film, same thing too, but you really got to make sure that you know, all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed and lowercase j's are dotted. Make sure everything's kind of sitting good before you kind of move on to the next process, because once you start getting to retopo, like if you need to come back and move stuff, you know, you gotta move the high res, and then you gotta move, you know, and then get the low res bake prep ready again, you know. So it's best to just spend a little bit of extra time and do some house cleaning, you know. Just kind of make sure that everything's sitting in the right place, getting ready. It's important. It's a huge time saver down the line. I try to do this all the time because I've been on the other side of it where like, ah, crap, I got to go back and change this thing, you know, like, and then I have to like re-prep it for you know, for retopo, and then take it back over, import it back in, adjust my current retopo. You know, it's just freaking annoying. Terrible fiber mesh. Any chance the future stream you have to go over some of the techniques? Beard looks nice. Yeah, I mean, it's actually really really quick and easy. It's very actually I think I did it on stream, honestly. Let's look at his face real quick. Just to give you an idea, what I usually do is I'll break it into pieces, you know. So like I'll just mask an area, and then I'll do like small hairs, you know, and then I'll do another area that's a little bit bigger, you know, a little bit more, maybe some longer pieces, and then I do another area where like it may be a different color, or like I need to add some more shape and stuff. It's really quick and easy. You just come in after you actually create the fiber mesh, and then you can come in with the move tools and let's clear the mask. Why aren't you moving? Why aren't you moving? Oh, that's why. No, not that one. I want this guy. Thank you. Alright, then you can come in here and just kind of move things around a little bit. It's great. It's awesome. I think I'm pretty sure did all this on the stream. So if you want to go back and see how I did it, you can actually do that. I think it's like I just used like one of the presets too, and then I came in and then I just did a little bit of poly painting for this front just to change that a little bit. And that was it. Pretty simple, really quick and easy. Maybe I'll add some in his armpit next time around. Definitive workflow for ZBrush. I think that's let's see what this looks like real quick. And it's arbitrary. Every workflow is different, and it depends on your project. You know, maybe I could actually go and do his eyebrows. Yeah, there you go. I mean, the beard still needs tons of work. This is just a quick block in for the overall shape. Actually, maybe I could do his eyebrows real quick. All right, the request is in. All right, let's do eyebrows real quick. So basically, what I would do is I would just make sure that that's right. He's not symmetrical. Just down a little bit. All right, so basically, I'd come in and just use my mask pen and just mask an area. All right. Maybe actually it's going to come down there. So want to make sure to get the masked area correct first. Um, baseline process, like, honestly, like the baseline process is really is different. Um, I don't know how to kind of explain. Really, the process really is determined by the project. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Um, you know, if you're doing hard surface stuff, it's way different. You know, if you're doing VFX work, it's way different from game process. You know, if you're doing concept, it's different from game. It's different from VFX. It's different from organic. It's different from, you know, everything. it's it's tough to say what that is. I would hearken to not even attempt it. All right, so what I would do is just come into fiber mesh, and once I have that area blocked in, I would just go into Lightbox. And I think I used fibers 142 or 160. Maybe I did that one. I'm not sure. You can try it, but there's a lot of different stuff here. It's kind of fun stuff to use. But we'll just try this guy. Holy eyebrows! Oh my god! What did you do to your eyebrows, bro? Then we got into modifiers, and all this stuff's it's pretty self-explanatory. All right, so max fibers. Let's turn the fibers down. Let's definitely turn the length way down. Ship it. All right, so it's just about kind of like getting it, you know, around the area. Let's do coverage. We'll throw that way down. Remind me of like Cousin It, just in the eyebrows. I'll do max fibers down. All right, so we start getting that, and then we gotta take our length way down more. And sometimes it's, you know, just it's trial and error, right? Usually what I do is I try not to groom too much during this process. I usually will just groom everything after. Yeah, Z Classroom is a really good place to start. All right, Shembra. Okay, so let's look at what scale root. Scale tip is okay. So scale root is 1, which means that the root of this bad boy, you know, is a certain size, and then the tip is scale tip is a lot smaller, right? So it's kind of a cone. I don't want any gravity. Maybe a horizontal tangent. Maybe see if I can get that moving in a horizontal direction. Woo! And then bushy old eyebrows. Does that even work? Possibly. Yeah, a little bit. The nice thing is that if you hold control over any of these, it'll give you a little explanation of what each of these do, you know? Let me turn the clumps down. Let's get rid of the clumpies. I think I can turn my segments down too. Alright, that's how many segments each one of these whoa. Each one of these pieces have. And what I may do is I may do 2 different passes to give some variation to the length. Let's see, so scale coverage, I may want a little bit more here. By mask, I'm going to take it down a little bit past my mask. So by mask is you know, if it's all the way up, it'll say only in the mask areas. If it's down some, it'll say, all right, well, take the mask and then, you know, you can go a little bit outside the mask. Embed, again, is kind of like this one, where the placement, like the depth placement. So embed will actually go in a little bit more. So maybe I'll take this down a little to make sure that it's actually sitting in. You can try using some of the groom brushes. So this will be G for groom. Maybe the groom blower will try. Ugh, what happened? Preview. There we go. Yeah, that's really just for after you create. So I'm actually gonna create it first. So I think maybe it should be a little bit longer. So let's go length maybe to like, let's try 15. All right, again, trial and error. So you can, you can save this as well. Usually what I'll do is I'll save, if I get to this point, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try this. I'll save this out as just, let's just put this on my desktop real quick. We'll say eyebrow test 01. Right? So save that out, and then if I don't like it, I can come back and just open that file, and then start right back from here, and then keep going, right? So let's just say that's good for now, and then we'll do accept. Fast preview. Sure. Alright, so now I have a base of what I have, and then now I'll start using some of the groom brush just to see if I can get some of this moving in the right direction. Looks like this is going towards camera. So at least I can start getting it moving in the right direction. Again, this is going towards camera. Maybe I can turn down the intensity a little bit. Alright, so you can get it kind of going in the right direction. Whew! That's pretty thick, right? I'm like, I think that's definitely too thick. It's a little bit carpety, right? So maybe what I want to do is, okay, let's turn this dude off. Let's go back to this guy. Go back to fiber mesh, and now we do open, and they'll just go open that eyebrow test, right? And then I can get right back to where I was. So then let's say, let's turn the max fibers down. Let's turn the coverage down. I know, the clippers would be so much easier, right? Actually, you know what? Yeah, so let's try that. All right, so we've taken the coverage down a little bit, the max fibers down a little bit. I'll just do accept real quick. All right, and then let's do... Let's see what that is looking like. Yeah, you definitely need some nose hair too. Some hose hair. Yeah, it's just about just kind of figuring out what works. It's very trial and error, especially for me. I mean, so that's pretty much how I did all of this too, right? And then you can come in and start doing let's look at some other groom brushes. So no, brush, groom, PG. Clumps maybe? So the other thing too is you can always do you know, lengthening the hair. You know, so if I want to like want to make some of it a little bit longer, I can do that. You know. I really don't like the groom brushes like at all. They just never ever work good for me. Let's actually go back. Yeah. So a lot of times I'll just use the regular move brushes and just kind of like massage these into the direction. You know? Yeah, fiber mesh can be taxing at times. But it's really, you know, just trial and error. See what you like. See what's working for you. Um, Try some things. You know, and then, you know, the other thing too is you could just go ahead and once you have it, you could just duplicate it, right? And then, um, where's my move? Hello? Where is my move? There it is, way down there. Why is it way down there? Holy Jesus. I wonder why I couldn't find it. So yeah, you could just duplicate it and then move it, you know? So once I get a good base, you know, I duplicate it, move it around, and then just kind of vary it up again. So you can start adding um, more detail that way instead of going all the way back and redoing it, you know? And I don't think this is working out very well. Eyebrows are tough for me. But this is basically what I would do until I got something, you know, that felt right. Right? Knowing which direction the hair actually is supposed to go. Yeah, definitely helps. Um, I'd probably say it was about a total combined of maybe 3.5, maybe 3 or 4 weeks of total work. If I was working on this guy 8 hours a day, um, you know, every week, I would say probably about 3.5 weeks. All right, so we start getting some of this fun stuff happening, and it's always good to throw a quick render just see what they look like. Hey yo, it's 8 o'clock. There's ways to bake it, but really honestly, the thing that I ever really use it for is presentation. You know, that's why I don't really spend too much time on it, especially since I do game res stuff. I don't think I'm never gonna use this for baking cards, right? So it's more of just to kind of get the overall feel, more of just a kind of a presentation. So if I'm showing this to my art director, you know, I want him to be able to have a good idea of the full character, right? So when I do renders, it, you know, has some of that in it, right? So it kind of adds to the character instead of making the art director kind of imagine what it's like. Oh, just imagine he's got a beard, you know? Ooh. So again, that's why I don't really spend too much time doing it. You know, it's just, it becomes a little bit too tedious because I'm never going to use this in the actual asset, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, you know. So it's just for look dev. So basically, what I would do, I don't think I would ever do the actual eyebrows like this. I think what I would do is just, I would come in and do, you know, just a quick sculpt. And you could even do colorized, you know. So let's say, let's fill this object. You have layers on, of course you do. Yes, of course you do. Layers, ears back. Let's just bake that real quick. Okay. So let's fill the object, and then maybe I'll just grab this color, and then I'll come in and just do, let's do RGB. You know, maybe I'll paint some in real quick. You know, maybe not this rudimentary. You know, maybe take some time and actually. You know, that actually looks gross, but you get the idea. I probably will just sculpt something in real quick. I probably actually wouldn't even use color. Oh my god, you're chugging so bad right now. So maybe I would just turn RGB off. Let's turn this back to white. Yeah, that's fine. You know, maybe I'll just... I do want to turn, if I do this, I want to turn lazy mouse off, because it has this, in 4R8, it tries to connect to where you last left off. So it has this kind of like weird zigzag pattern that it does that I don't like. So if you turn off, yeah, I might just do a quick something or other, just to kind of block it in and just give an idea. Right? Something like that. I do stream on my own channel, Gillette, or Gillette, however you go by. I haven't in a while, but I'm actually planning on getting back to it because I want to finish this guy and get him into my portfolio. I want to keep doing personal work. So I'm planning on doing some. So if you'd like to follow along in the rest of this guy's process, I'm planning on finishing him up, doing retopo and baking and painting in Substance Painter with this guy. So that's my plan. If you want to follow along, you can follow me on my channel, which is right there. Okay, I think that's going to be it for today, guys. Just a quick one. We're going to continue on the next next stream. It's going to be on the it's not until the 18th. But we're going to continue this same thing where we're going to go in and just kind of do some housekeeping. I need to finish up all of this. Some other things that I want to add, just quality of life detail stuff that I need to make sure is ready for when I want to do the retopo and baking. So yeah, we'll pick up from here on the next stream. Also, don't forget to check out the other streamers on Pixelogic's channel. We got some really awesome guys and girls doing some amazing stuff here. So follow along, follow the Pixelogic channel here, and yeah, learn from the peoples. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks for hanging out today, and thanks for all the awesome questions. And yeah, I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys learned a thing or two, and most of all, I hope you were inspired to go make your own cool stuff. So go do it. Do it now. Do it now. Get up early if you have to. Just do it. Learn. Practice. Do it. Alright, guys. I am out. I think I'm going to go take a nap. Yeah, sounds good. Alright, guys. Take it easy. See you soon. And thanks for coming by. Later.